My stepfather bought Haley a Jeep Wrangler for her 16th birthday, white with a red bow on the hood and a custom license plate that said, Hales 16. The whole neighborhood came out to watch her scream and jump and post 17 Instagram stories before she'd even sat in the driver's seat. 3 months later, when I asked if I could borrow the family car to get to my SAT prep class across town, he said, "The bus runs every 30 minutes. You've got legs." I was 17. I'd been living in his house for 6 years. I'd never asked him for anything. He looked at me over his newspaper and said it again slower, like I hadn't understood. "You have legs." Haley was in the kitchen, jingling her Jeep keys, about to drive to the mall to meet friends. My mother was folding laundry and pretended not to hear. I took the bus 42 minutes each way. I was late to class twice that month, but 6 weeks later, on a Thursday afternoon, he came home early from work and saw me getting picked up from school. The car that pulled up wasn't a bus. It was a black Mercedes S-Class, and the person driving it was Martin Fisher, the owner of Fisher & Associates, the commercial real estate development firm where my stepfather worked as a mid-level project manager. His boss's boss's boss, the man who could fire him with one phone call. I watched my stepfather's face through the living room window as Mr. Fisher got out of the car, opened my door, took my backpack, and said something that made me laugh. I saw the exact moment my stepfather realized he'd made a catastrophic miscalculation. Because some people, when you tell them to walk, find someone with better transportation and better intentions. I'm 19. If you're watching this, please subscribe to Echo of Justice Stories and let me know where you're watching from. Because what started with my stepfather telling me to take the bus ended with me learning that sometimes the people who refuse to help you aren't the only people in the world, and sometimes the ones who do help you change everything. We're from Riverside Heights, Washington, a suburb outside Seattle, where the houses all look vaguely the same and everyone's trying to keep up with everyone else. My mother, Catherine, married my stepfather, Brian, when I was 11. My real father died when I was 8. Heart attack, sudden. The kind of thing that doesn't give you time to prepare or say goodbye properly. My mom was a wreck for 2 years. Then she met Brian at a work conference. He was recently divorced. He had a daughter, Haley, who was 8 at the time. They dated for 9 months and got married at a courthouse, small ceremony, just the 4 of us and my grandmother. I remember Brian kneeling down to my level on the wedding day. Jordan. I'm not trying to replace your dad, but I promise I'll take care of you and your mom. We're a family now. I believed him. I was 11. The first year was fine. Good even. We moved into Brian's house, 4 bedrooms, nice neighborhood, better school district than where we'd been living. Haley and I shared a bathroom. We fought over counter space and shower time like normal siblings. Brian came to my soccer games. He helped me with my math homework. He made pancakes on Saturday mornings. My mom seemed happy for the first time since my dad died. I thought we were actually going to be okay. The shift started small. Haley wanted to take dance classes, expensive ones, $280 a month at a studio, 40 minutes. Away, Brian signed her up immediately. If she's passionate about it, we should support it. He said 2 months later, I asked if I could join the travel soccer team. It was $180 for the season plus tournament fees. Brian looked at the paperwork and frowned. That's a lot of driving for your mom. And we just paid for Haley's recital costume. The season doesn't start for 2 months. I could help pay Jordan. We need to be realistic about the budget. Haley's dance is already a big commitment. I didn't join the team. Haley's recital costume cost $340. Haley's birthday. Big party, 25 kids. Rented bounce house, catered food. A cake from the fancy bakery that looked like a castle. Estimated cost $800, $1,000. My birthday, 2 months later. Dinner at home, store-bought cake, $50 gift card to Target. When I mentioned the difference to my mom, she said, Haley's more social. She needs the big parties. You've always been more low-key, low-key. The word they use when they mean easier to disappoint. Haley decided she wanted to redecorate her room. She made a Pinterest board, showed it to Brian over breakfast. Can we do this, Daddy, please? 2 weeks later, contractors were painting new furniture from Pottery Barn. Teen arrived, a chandelier, actual chandelier for a 13-year-old's bedroom. Total cost approximately $4,500. My room still had the same furniture from when we moved in. The same blue comforter from Target. The same desk with the wobbly leg Brian had said he'd fix for 3 years. I asked if I could at least get new curtains. Mine were too short for the windows and let in street light at night. Add it to the list, Brian said we'll get to it. We never got to it. Haley's chandelier had dimmer switches and a remote control. Haley's laptop broke. She'd spilled water on it, completely her fault. Brian bought her a new MacBook Pro the next day, $2,400. She needs it for school, he said. My laptop, a 5-year-old Dell, was dying slowly. The battery lasted 40 minutes. The fan sounded like a helicopter. I asked if I could get a new one or even a refurbished one. Yours still works, Brian said. Just keep it plugged in? I kept it plugged in for 2 more years. Haley used her MacBook Pro to watch Netflix and text her friends. This is where it all came to a head. Haley turned 16 in March. For months before, it was all she talked about. Daddy, what kind of car am I getting? Not if, what kind. Brian played it coy. You'll see, the morning of her birthday, I woke up to screaming. Happy screaming, I came downstairs to find the entire family in the driveway. Neighbors too, a white Jeep Wrangler brand, new bow on the hood, custom plates. Haley was crying. My mom was filming. Brian had his arm around Haley's shoulders, beaming like he just won Father of the Year. Only the best for my girl, he said. The Jeep cost $38,000, I know, because I saw the paperwork on the kitchen counter later that day. I was happy for Haley. She'd wanted a Jeep since she was 12, but I also did math in my head. All the things I'd been told we couldn't afford. Travel soccer, $180. New laptop, $600 for a decent one. SAT prep course, $400. Homecoming dress, $75. I wore one from Goodwill field trip to Washington, D.C. $300. I didn't go total, $1,555. The Jeep cost $38,000. I turned 17 in June. No party dinner at home. My mom made lasagna. Brian gave me a card with $50 inside. For college savings, he said like it was generous. Haley gave me a Bath & Body Works candle she'd clearly re-gifted. It still had the gift receipt inside from her friend's birthday party. I said thank you. I smiled. I blew out the candles on the grocery store cake, and I didn't say a word about the Jeep in the driveway or the fact that I was getting $50 while his daughter had gotten $38,000 3 months earlier. I'd been saving money since I was 14, babysitting, dog walking, anything I could do after school. By the time I was 17, I had $2,100 in an account my grandmother had helped me set up. I wanted to go to college, a good one. I had a 3.9 GPA, I was in honor society, volunteered at the library, wrote for the school paper, but my SAT score was 1240. Good but not good enough for the scholarships I needed. I found an SAT prep course, 8 weeks, $400. I paid for it myself. The problem was getting there. The course was at a learning center in Bellevue, 30-minute drive. No direct bus route. The bus took an hour and 15 minutes with 2 transfers. Classes were Tuesday and Thursday evenings, 6 Calc 8 Calcane p.m. The first week I took the bus both ways. I left school at 3:30, got to the class at 5:45, left at 8 hours, got home at 9:30. 3 hours of commuting for a 2-hour class. The second week I asked my mom if I could borrow her car. Honey, I need it for grocery shopping. What about Brian's car? He's home by then. Ask him. I asked him. He was watching TV, didn't look up. What's wrong with the bus? It takes over an hour each way. If I could just borrow Bill's character, I took the bus when I was your age. Brian, it's for SAT prep for college. Then it sounds important enough to plan for. Haley walked in, keys jingling. Dad, can I take the Jeep to Emma's? Sure, sweetheart, home by 10. She left. I stood there. Brian still didn't look up from the TV. The bus runs every 30 minutes. He said, you've got legs. Week 3, I missed class entirely. The bus broke down. I sat at a transfer stop for 40 minutes in the rain. By the time the next one came, it was too late. I called the learning center and apologized. You've already missed 1 session. The director said, if you miss 2 more, we can't offer you the makeup work. I understand it won't happen again. But week 4, I was late. 30 minutes late, I missed the entire diagnostic test. The instructor pulled me aside. Jordan, is everything okay? You seem stressed, I almost told her. Almost explained that my stepfather bought his daughter a $38,000 car, but wouldn't let me borrow a vehicle to get to the class I'd paid for myself. Instead, I said, transportation issues, I'm working on it. She looked at me for a long moment. Are you taking the bus? Yes. From Riverside Heights? Yes. She shook her head. That's a terrible commute. Do you have anyone who can drive you? I'm figuring it out. but I had no idea what to do. I volunteered at the Riverside Heights Library every Saturday, had been for 2 years. I shelved books, helped with the computer lab, ran the reading hour for kids. The head librarian, Mrs. Kaplan, was in her 60s, kind sharp, the type who noticed things. One Saturday in late September, she found me in the break room on my lunch break doing SAT practice problems. Still prepping? Yeah, test is in 6 weeks. How's the class going? I hesitated. It's good, just hard to get there. Transportation? I nodded. She sat down across from me. Jordan, I'm going to tell you something, and I want you to really hear me. You're one of the hardest working kids I've ever met. You show up here every week on time, prepared, you never complain. You do twice the work of our paid staff. I like it here, I know you do, but you shouldn't have to struggle this hard just to get to a class you paid for yourself. My throat got tight. It's fine, I'll figure it out. What if I told you there might be another way? I looked up. What do you mean? She pulled out her phone, scrolled through contacts. There's someone I know, very successful. He's on the library board. He runs a mentorship program for high school students interested in business and real estate. Okay, he's always looking for sharp kids. Kids with drive. I think you'd be a good fit, Mrs. Kaplan. I don't have time for another program. It's not a program, it's mentorship one-on-one, and he has an office in Bellevue right near your SAT class. My heart started beating faster. You think he'd help me? I think he'd be impressed by you, and I know he hates waste a kid with your grades struggling to get to SAT prep because of a bus route. That's exactly the kind of thing that makes him angry. Who is he? She showed me her phone, a contact name, Martin Fisher. Mrs. Kaplan set up a meeting for the following Tuesday. I was terrified. I looked up Martin Fisher online. He owned Fisher & Associates, one of the biggest commercial real estate development firms in the Seattle area. Net worth estimated at $47 million. He'd built shopping centers, office parks, mixed-use developments, and he was Brian's boss. Well, several levels up, Brian worked as a project manager at Fisher & Associates. He'd worked there for 8 years. I'd heard Brian talk about Martin Fisher at dinner before. Always with a mix of respect and fear, Fisher wants the updated renderings by Friday. Fisher's not happy with the timeline. If Fisher pulls this project, we're all screwed, and now I was supposed to meet with him. The meeting was at his office, a glass building in downtown Bellevue. I took the bus, wore my best outfit, black pants, white blouse, a blazer I'd bought at a thrift store for $12. His assistant led me to his office, corner suite, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Martin Fisher stood when I entered, tall, late 50s, silver hair, sharp suit, the kind of presence that makes you sit up straighter without realizing it, Jordan. Sit, Mrs. Kaplan speaks very highly of you, I sat. Thank you for meeting with me, Mr. Fisher. Call me Martin. Mrs. Kaplan tells me you're having trouble getting to your SAT class, I explained. The bus route, the transfers, the time. He listened without interrupting. When I finished, he leaned back in his chair. And your parents can't help? My stepfather says I should take the bus. Does your stepfather have a car? Yes. Does he use it to drive to work? Yes. So he understands that having reliable transportation affects your ability to succeed. I didn't know what to say to that. Martin pulled out a notepad. Where's the learning center? I gave him the address. And you go Tuesday and Thursday evenings? Yes, 6 to 8. He wrote something down. Here's what we're going to do. My office is 4 blocks from that learning center. I usually work late on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'll pick you up from school at 5:15. You'll come here, use the conference room to study until 5:45, then I'll drive you to class after class. You can wait in the lobby and I'll drive you home. I stared at him. Mr. Fisher, Martin, you don't have to. I know I don't have to, I want to. Do you know how many kids your age would take the bus for 3 hours round trip just to improve their SAT score by 50 points? Most wouldn't bother. You did. That tells me you're serious, I am. Then let me help you be serious more efficiently. He stood, extended his hand. We start next Tuesday. I shook his hand. Thank you. As I was leaving, he said one more thing. Jordan, your stepfather. What's his name? Brian Morrison. Something flickered across Martin's face. Just for a second. Brian Morrison, project manager, 3rd floor. Yes. He nodded slowly. Interesting. The following Tuesday at 5:15 p.m., a black Mercedes S-Class pulled up in front of Riverside Heights High School. Martin Fisher got out, smiled, opened the back door. Hop in, I saw heads turn. Other students staring. Jessica Chen, who was in my AP English class, actually stopped walking and pulled out her phone. I got in the car. The interior smelled like leather and expensive cologne. How was school? Good. I had a calc test. How'd it go? I think I got an A. You think, or you know, I know. He smiled. Better. We drove to his office. He set me up in a conference room with windows overlooking the city, a whiteboard, and a table big enough to spread out all my materials. You've got 90 minutes, use them well. There's water in the fridge and snacks in the cabinet. I'll come get you at 5:45. He left. I studied harder in those 90 minutes than I'd studied all month. At 5:45, he knocked. Ready? He drove me to the learning center, pulled up to the front entrance. I'll be back at 8. If class runs late, text this number. He handed me a card with his cell phone number. Don't wait outside alone. Thank you, Martin. Go ace that practice test. I did. I scored 1420. For the next 4 weeks, Martin picked me up every Tuesday and Thursday. It became routine. He'd ask about school, about my college applications, about what I was reading. He never asked about my home life directly, but I got the sense he was putting pieces together. One Thursday he asked, have you thought about where you want to apply? University of Washington for sure. Maybe some out-of-state schools if I can get enough scholarship money. What do you want to study? Business? Maybe economics. I like the idea of understanding how things work. Systems, markets, why people make the decisions they make. He smiled. You'd be good at that. You think so? I know. So you've been managing a 3-hour commute, a part-time job, straight A's, and you still show up on time with a good attitude? That's better than half the MBA graduates I interview. I felt my face get hot. Thank you. I'm not being nice. I'm being honest. There's a difference. The following week, he brought it up again. I have a proposition for you. Okay. I need a part-time assistant, someone to help with organization filing research, easy work, but it needs someone detail-oriented. 20 hours a week, $18 an hour. Flexible scheduling around school. I did the math in my head, $18 is 20 hours, but it was $360 a week, $14 by $40 a month, more than I'd ever made. Are you serious? Completely. You'd be helping me and you'd get real experience in a business setting. Good for college applications. When would I start? Whenever you're ready, I'm ready now. He laughed Monday, then I didn't tell anyone at home, not on purpose. It just never came up. My mom asked once how I was getting to SAT class. I got a ride. From who? A mentor from the library program. That was technically true. She didn't ask for details. Brian never asked at all. But Thursday, October 19th, everything changed. Martin picked me up from school at 5:15 like usual. We were pulling out of the parking lot when I saw it, Brian's car. His gray Toyota Camry parked across the street. He was inside watching. I saw his face through the windshield, saw the exact moment he recognized the Mercedes, recognized Martin. His eyes went wide. Martin, I said quietly, that's my stepfather. Martin glanced over, saw, Brian. His expression didn't change. The project manager. Yes. Does he know you've been working with me? No. Why did you do it? He was quiet for a long time. I don't know. Yes, you do fine, because she's not mine. And every time I looked at her, I saw him, her real father. The one you still miss, and I couldn't compete with that. My mom stared at him, so you punished her? I didn't mean to, but you did. He nodded. My mom looked at me. What do you want, Jordan? I thought about it. I want him to admit he was wrong. Not just to you, to everyone. To Haley, to anyone who saw her. Get that Jeep and saw me. Get nothing. Brian flinched. I want him to understand that I didn't ask Martin Fisher for help to hurt him. I asked because I needed help and no one else was offering. My mom looked back at Brian. Can you do that? Yes. Then come inside. We moved back home a week later. Things weren't perfect. They're still not. But Brian made changes. He apologized to me, publicly, in front of Haley. He started asking about my college applications, my SAT scores. I got a 1490, by the way. He offered to help pay for application fees. I let him, not because I needed the money, because I needed him to participate. Haley and I had a conversation, just the two of us, a few weeks later. I didn't know, she said. I didn't know he was treating you differently. I know, I'm sorry. It's not your fault, you're his kid. He's supposed to love you like that, but you're his kid too now. No, I'm not, and that's okay, but I'm Mom's kid, and she's his wife, and that means I deserve to be treated with respect, even if I'm not his. She nodded. For what it's worth, I think Martin Fisher is really cool, and I think it's awesome that he helped you. Thanks. Are you still working for him? Yeah, 20 hours a week. Do you like it? I love it, and I did. I still work for Martin. I'm 19 now. Freshman at the University of Washington on a partial scholarship. Martin wrote one of my recommendation letters. So did Mrs. Kaplan. I got in early admission. I still work at Fisher and Associates on weekends and school breaks. I'm learning about development contracts, financing, real tangible skills. Martin's become more than a boss. He's a mentor, the kind of adult who sees potential and invests in it without asking for anything in return. Brian still works there. It's awkward sometimes. Last month, Martin invited both of us to a company event, a groundbreaking for a new mixed-use development. Brian barely spoke. After the speeches, Martin pulled me aside. How's school? Good. Really good. I'm proud of you, kid. Thank you for everything, I mean it. He smiled. You know what the best part of helping you was? What? Watching you prove that the people who underestimate you are just making room for the ones who don't. He was right. Brian thought telling me to walk was the end of the conversation. It was actually the beginning. Because when one door closes, or when someone tells you that you have legs and should use them, you find someone who will not only open a door but drive you to it. I'm Jordan. I'm 19. My stepfather bought my stepsister a $38,000 Jeep and told me to take the bus. Then his boss started picking me up in a Mercedes. And everything my stepfather thought he understood about control and value and who deserves help fell apart in a high school parking lot on a Thursday afternoon. If you've ever been the kid who was treated differently, less money, less attention, less care, while someone else got everything, I need you to hear this. You don't need permission from the people who overlook you. You need to find the people who won't ask for help, not from people who've already said no. From people who understand that potential isn't about biology or obligation, it's about showing up. My stepfather thought he was teaching me a lesson about self-reliance. Instead, he taught me that some people will tell you to walk and others will hand you keys. And the ones who hand you keys, those are your people. I still don't have a car, by the way. But I have something better. I have people who believe in me enough to show up, and that's worth more than anything parked in a driveway with a bow on it. If someone ever told you that you weren't worth the investment while someone else got everything, tell me about it in the comments. I read every single one. And if you want to hear what happened when Brian asked me to put in a good word for him with Martin 6 months later, that story is coming. Hit subscribe to Echo of Justice Stories so you don't miss it. Check the description for more stories about stepfamilies, favoritism, and the people who help when family won't. You don't have legs just to walk. You have them to walk away from people who don't see your worth and toward the ones who do.